I met Elisabeth a month after my daughter Kristen died. Kristen was swept out to sea by a rogue wave in 1976. And a month later, Elisabeth was speaking in a town close to the town where we were living at the time. We were living in Ashland, Oregon, and she was speaking in Medford, Oregon. And I knew she was coming before Kristen died, and when my friends asked me if I wanted to meet her, I said, absolutely not. I'm a single parent. I'm into living and going forward and dealing with my children, and I don't have any time for death and dying. Are you kidding? After Kristen's death, it was just the most powerful thing that could have happened to me to meet her. I was very frightened to meet her. I was in such disbelief when I met her because Kristen had been pulled out to sea. It was as sudden as it could be. I was completely in shock. I was not wanting to accept her death at all, and to meet this, quote, expert would mean to me that I would have to accept Kristen's death, and that I did not want to do. But my friends arranged for me to go to the lecture with them and afterwards to have a personal meeting with her. When I met with her afterwards, she took my hands, she pulled me aside, and she said, Carol, I want to know how you're doing, how you're dealing with your anger. I want to know what you're going through, and jumped in with me with both hands. That was the strength of Elisabeth. She just had an uncanny ability of just excluding this whole room of hundreds, maybe thousands of people, so many people, and just focus just on you as if there nothing else existed. Elisabeth didn't give me answers. I never felt that I had to accept Kristen's death. I just had to allow myself to go through the process of what it was like to lose Kristen. She immediately asked me about my anger, and I told Elisabeth, I don't feel angry. And she said, Carol, you know, unless you wanted this to happen, you may feel some anger. At some point, you may feel angry. And I think in hindsight, I didn't feel the anger at first because I was so focused on, first of all, using whatever energy I had to go forward, being a single parent, and to help Michael, who had just lost his sister. They were 20 months apart. He was very close to her. He was on the beach when she was pulled out to sea. He was only 9 years old. And I didn't think any anger would help at this point. We needed to go forward, and if I had any energy, that energy had to be used to go forward. I also think that it's because I was raised Catholic, and I was afraid that if this is God's will, I didn't want to go against it. I didn't know if something else would happen. I had no idea at that point, you know, what would happen if I crossed God. This was more than I could handle already. And I think I just didn't understand all of what anger was for me. It wasn't an emotion that came easily. So those are the main reasons, but Elisabeth gently moved me into that, especially down the line.